What up, Keyforge? I am Zoc, and we are here for round 3 of the final refrain. We have Aviator versus JDG314 tonight. It's going to be exciting.
It's the final refrain coming right at you.
Yeah, that's right, CTP. All right, so let's actually jump in and see what we got going on for this matchup. We of course have Aviator 2023 and 2024 National Alliance Champion and World Alliance runner-up. And from JDG, we have a whole bunch of runner-ups in Vault Tours and Nationals in both Alliance and Archon. So what's this? What are they running here? What are they running? Aviator is running Mars, 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 a whole bunch of Mars Pip Logos and Geistoid with a Mars that has 3 intentional discharges and a Dr. X. So you can play the Time Traveler over and over and over again. It can Rule of 6. Also has Echo Fly with Ghoul Keeping and Triple Junk Restoration. So, but no key cheats, no key cheats. On JDG's side, we have a very disruptive disc, double Markadis, double Mindfire, one with a drop pip, Eaton's Jar. We have a very fast Logos, autoencoder, Ultra Gravitron, double Lethologica, Eclectic Incree. Then we have triple Quixelstone, Mattermaker, and Hold the Line in Star Alliance. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. What's up, Mozi? Nice to see you. Okay, yeah, we still have a tiny bit of time because they're not quite ready yet. So I actually wanted to take a quick look at where we're at in the bracket as well. It's kind of hard to see here, but we're at the final 4. The final 4 matches. So final 8 participants. Up here in the top right, we have Aviator versus JDG. The winner of this match will play the winner of Don Keyforge and Demott, which will be the finalist on one side. And then on the other side, we have Random Joe playing SC Steel. And the winner of that will play the winner of Harmed and Fakey. And so these matches will be coming up. And so definitely make sure you check out the Final Refrain Discord. Let me take a quick look at the events. They are all listed in the events on the Discord. So we have Random Joe and SC Steel coming up in just about 13 hours. And in 14 hours, we actually have a challenger match, which is the losers from round 1 playing versus other people who wanted to challenge them in Alliance. So we have Arenta Long versus Easy Galena in about 14 hours. On Thursday, we have Demott versus Don Keyforge. And then on Friday, we have Harmed versus Fakey. So every day this week, we have an exciting matchup in round 3 of the final refrain. So that's exciting. Yes, the winner of this will play the Battle of the Brio Cows. That's going to be interesting. So while they're getting ready here, let me make sure we're ready. Let's take a quick look again at their decks and see how this could potentially play out. So, of course, JDG's deck has the triple Quixelstone, which does, of course, limit, once those get on the board, limit Aviator's ability to flood the board with Mars. With the Time Traveler being in Mars and Intentional Discharge, he could play a Dr. X, play a Time Traveler, use Intentional Discharge to bounce a Time Traveler, ready the Dr. X, play Mars creatures from his discard potentially, while also playing the Time Traveler over and over, drawing more cards, getting more intentional discharge. Help from Future Self can put him back in the draw pile to draw again. And it's got an extra draw pip on it, so it's drawing a 3 every time. Now, if the Quixel Stone is out there, obviously you wouldn't be able to play 2 creatures. I'm guessing JDG will not be playing any creatures. So he still could potentially play the Time Traveler and bounce it with the intentional discharge, I believe, still. So we'll have to see kind of what his strategy is there on how he attacks that. Now he does have a Destroy Them All to potentially attack one of the artifacts. Does he hold that for the autoencoder or the Eaton's Jar or the Quixel Stone? When does the Eaton's Jar come? When do the Quixel Stones come? There's a lot of variability in how these matches might play up. Doctor may be less useful because of the stones. Yeah, definitely. There's going to be some stones on the board in one of these matches. Guaranteed. I wonder, so what is the starting... Who wants to go first? I assume JDG actually wants to go first and try and get a Quixel Stone on the board immediately. And what's interesting is AV8R probably also wants to go second, because if the Quixel Stone isn't there, he could potentially start his combo right away. He wants to get into the Mars combo right away. Of course, it's not often in your starting hand, so the triple junk restorations is also a potential starting point. The one thing, once the Quixel Stone is out there, it does limit kind of what AV8R can do in terms of his board. So definitely something to keep in mind. And on JDG's side, he's got Eaton's Jar. What does he decide to jar, knowing that AV8R does have to destroy them all? There's a lot of different possibilities there. Obviously, the Time Traveler, but then that might leave him open to the destroy them all. You think JGG wants to go second? Turn 1 stone maybe doesn't change much. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And getting, I mean, he would love an autoencoder turn 1 as well, for sure. Let's check in. Okay, our participants are ready to go. Whoops. There we go. All right. All right. What's also interesting about AV8R's deck is one of my pods, isn't it? So that's always fun. It's a fun combination of a bunch of ABR teammates, including Mozzie, with of course finding the awesome Mars Pip Time Traveler with a really good Mars to go with it. Awesome Archon deck by itself. Okay, we see JDG going first, going Star Alliance, and the Quixel Stone comes down right away. How does AV8R respond? So, as we expected, AV8R goes into Logos, starts discarding cards, Effervescent Principal and Daughter. JGG then goes into Logo, so Lethalogica, discarding the other 2 Quixel Stones and Eaton's Jar, but getting the autoencoder. So playing the autoencoder, using its coming to get an Ultra Gravitron and discarding it to start that autoencoder archiving madness. AV8R goes into Geistoid, Junk Restoration, discards Portal Guardian, Ezra Paz, and Quantum Mouse. Discards all of that, plays a Haunting deck. Not discarded yet, though. Almost. But has a discard pip on it, so can also discard a Zyzox. Oh, wait, I have the wrong... Sorry about that. Okay. There we go. The wrong overlay. JDG goes quickly into disc, plays a Mindfire, hits a Brain Dart, steals an Ember. Already to check. Implosion for the Ember and Stirring Grave. Maybe getting either the Umbra Fiend, maybe the Umbra Fiend here? Yeah, getting the Umbra Fiend. Discarding the Mark of 2 Market Discs just to get more archives. Not needing the Ember here. Is it the Draw Pip Fiend? I didn't actually see. Let's see. It is not, I don't think. Okay, AV8R goes into Mars, plays a Yandy Lynx, uses the intentional discharge to return it. Plays it again and then destroys them all and takes out the autoencoder. So, knowing that Quixel Stones are going to be coming, even though 2 were already discarded, knowing that the autoencoder is critical to JDG's game and getting everything in the archives, probably wanting to cycle that disc over and over. All right. Whew, that was a fast start. Technofiend has the drop hit. Okay. Don't think we've seen the Technofiend yet. Okay, JDG goes into Logos, plays the Eclectic Encrate, archiving 2 more, plays the Universal Keylock, deciding, oh yeah, it did get his first key, and then discarding the bot booked it. Interesting that he plays the Keylock there as opposed to discarding it for the archive. Maybe assuming that AV8R might get his combo soon. Oh, wow. AV8R goes into Mars. Eldest Batchminder discards 2 intentional discharges and charges, but does get down a Quantum Compass, which could be critical. I don't remember what JDG has in terms of artifact control, if any. I don't think he's got any. Hey, what's up, Snoopy? Nice to see you. No artifact control for JGG. And goes into this. Plays Waking Nightmare. And discards Technofiend. Not wanting to put any creatures on the board with that Quixel Stone so that it really hamstrings what AV8R can do on the board side. AV8R goes into Logos. Quantum Compass archives the top card of their deck. The Animator comes out, mineralizes itself just to get it out of the deck. Discards Skippy, discards Minerva's Wings. And none of these artifacts can be used, so discarding the Skippy doesn't do much. JGG goes into Starlines, plays a Matter Maker. JGG over a key up at 4 Ember with 1 key already. AV8R just has 2 Ember. JGG does play a Subject Kirby and an Excess Denied on it to get an extra Ember, then destroys it with a Hadron Collision, and then discarding the Crewman Yorg. AV8R goes back into Geistoid, Junk Restoration, discarding a Dr. X with a discard pip. There's another Junk Restoration, decides to take that over the Echo Fly. And then Time Traveler comes up in addition to Connectome Transfer and Zyzox in the last, let's see, last 6 of his decks. So Decides to return the Connectome Transfer as opposed to the Time Traveler. Let's see. Doesn't have a way to know in here somewheres. And then discards Parabyte and double Portal Guardian. And then plays a Haunting deck. Ooh, getting to purge something from JGG's deck is critical. Purges the Eaton's Jar. And getting up to 5 Ember. Still key behind. But a big turn there. Yeah, I'm not. Help from Future Self might be in the hand or archives. I actually didn't see. So might have been a reason why he got rid of the Time Traveler. JGG goes into Starlines and just discards 2 creatures. Aviator goes Logos, does take the archives. Quantum Compass archives the top card. 8 cards in hand. Plays an Effervescent Principle. Remote Access doesn't do anything but gains Ember. Help from Future Self there goes and gets the Time Traveler back. Also puts the Effervescent Principle and the Remote Access back in the deck. Plays a Time Traveler, draws 2. Discards a Quantum Bounce, plays a Connectome Transfer to archive the Time Traveler. Gets up to 7 Ember. And potentially setting up for once he's got some intentional discharges. JGG getting back to some Logos efficiency though. Lethologica into Eclectic Inquiry. Yeah, curious decision to use Effervescent Principle there. The Universal Keylock is always a little bit of a chicken to see who's going to forge there first. JGG also critically gets an Autovac on tap. We did see Aviator get the Remote Access back in his deck, and then also, of course, has a Destroy Them All potentially coming. Goes into Mars, uses a Quantum Compass, didn't take the Archive, so didn't take the Time Traveler. Just discards 3 creatures and passes back over. JGG goes back into Logos, can now start getting Autovac value, but takes his old archives, 14 cards in hand. Its coming comes down, Ultra Gravitron is played, archives the top 5, Autoencoder comes back down, going to be putting more into the archive with his big hand. Discards 3 creatures, archiving all the way, Autovac also archives a card, still at 7 in hand. Ultra Gravitron also being out there gives a purge threat to the Time Traveler if it's left out there. Aviator goes in the Geistoid. Uses a Quantum Compass to archive the top. Plays a Junk Restoration to potentially get Echo Fly, Brain Dart, or Haunting Debt. Returns the Echo Fly. Interestingly, could have done the Ghoul Keeping Echo Fly combo, but instead decides to discard the Ghoul Keeping and archive it with Echo Fly, and then discarding another creature. So potentially maybe not wanting to forge that key and then allow JDG to get his second key for 6. Maybe waiting for either Effervescent Principle or some of his other tools. JGG goes into discards the Infernus. Can't play creatures still because of the Quixelstone. Discards Techno Fiend. Might be back to a Stirring Grave. Discards Market Dis. One more in the draw pile, so has been able to get archives up to 12 with the combination of the Ultra Gravitron and the autoencoder. Yeah, AV8R is on a pretty short clock. Plays a Mindfire to discard a Portal Guardian. AV8R goes on the Mars, takes his archives. Does he try and combo out here a little bit? He could potentially also have a Destroy Them All. Junk Restoration. He could either take an intentional discharge or a Destroy Them All. Decides to go for the intentional discharge here. Here comes a Time Traveler. Drawn cards. Has a hand of 12. IX Renew, the Clever comes out. Intentional discharge to return Time Traveler. Just reaps with the Clever. Time Traveler coming down again. Up to 12 Ember, 13 cards in hand, 3 in the draw pile. So one more Time Traveler play would get through the deck but not redraw. There's another intentional discharge. So let's see, we have 2 in the deck or in the discard, so he must have the other in hand. There's a Time Traveler again. Up to 14 Ember. Uses the intentional discharge again. Place a Time Traveler again to reshuffle and see he'll draw 3 new cards. So he could potentially, he's got a 3 in 18 chance to draw one of the 3 intentional discharges to keep going here. Reaps with a Clever, archives atop with a Quantum Compass, up to 16 Ember with a key cost of 9. Did redraw intentional discharge. Time Traveler comes down again. Up to 17 Ember. Let's see, is that 5 plays of the Time Traveler, I think, and 4 intentional discharges? Up to 18 Ember. It's going to be a tight race to the finish here. Yeah, it's a good question if he cares about the Ultra Gravitron purging the Time Traveler. I don't think so at this point. He had his big combo play. He's got 19 cards in hands. He probably has his other Geistoid combos in hand. He does get to capture and take JDG off of check in 2 turns, kind of. Although I'm sure JDG can get back to check since he's got 13 in archives and 6 in hand. Discarding the rest of his Mars creatures, saying check at 18. JDG is thinking. So he'll get the key at 9. He'll have 9 Ember left over. So 1 key with 9 Ember on AV8R's side. We have JDG with 1 key and 4 Ember, but a whole ton of cards 19 cards kind of available to him, whereas AV8R has 16 cards available to him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. We know that AV8R has the effervescent principle in hand. I'm sure doesn't want to play it this next turn, but it might come in critical the turn after. I guess it also depends on how, if JDG, does he burst this turn, or is it more of a setup turn? So JDG also is trying to think about how to approach this. Goalkeeping is in hand, yep, but not, we don't know about the Echo Fly, since he's still got a limit in the draw. But he's likely got, you know, at least one of those junk restorations. And he could, yeah, he could play a lot of Geistoid next turn potentially. Markadis into Mars. Yeah, potentially. We did just see him discard one Markadis last turn because he did go Dis last turn. He did draw 5, and I think he maybe had one left. 1 or 0 left in his draw, so maybe he redrew it, or maybe he had another, but he goes into Logos instead. Lethalogica, discards a Mindfire, gets it in It's Coming, discards QMax, discards It's Coming, really pumping out the archives to get to his end state. What's up, Strawman? Well, not this turn, but he might be trying to set up for a really big dish turn coming up. He does get the Ultra Gravitron to reap so that he'll be at check and potentially can, interestingly, let's see, he discards the Eclectic Inquiry. I didn't show it, but he actually purged his own Ultra Gravitron so that on the board side, AV8R's a little bit stuck. And then he also uses Autovac to discard a card. So that key costs 12. AV8R did get his first key, now with 6 Ember. JGG also at check for his second key. So making him pay 12 for that first key with the Autovac. AV8R does go into Geistoid. Gotta fix my lights here. Sorry about that. Quantum Compass, of course, archiving the top. There's a first junk restoration. Discarding Escape the Glorious to use Autovac. I believe, I couldn't tell if he discarded from his archive or if he used it to increase key cost. The second junk restoration comes out, returning the third junk restoration, getting the Echo Fly. He's not able to do his combo here since he can't play a creature, but could archive junk restoration with the Echo Fly potentially. probably has at least one Haunting deck in hand. He does archive the Junk Restoration with the Echo Fly. Yep, there's one Haunting deck. Discarding an Ezra Pause with a bonus icon. What's he going to purge here? He purges a Mindfire with a drop hit. Let's see, if he has a other Haunting deck, what are good options here? Key Locks or Lethological or Eclectic Inquiry. Then he discards Portal Guardian, Parabite, Portal Guardian, another Portal Guardian, plays a Ghoul Keeping for the Ember, discarding a Daughter with its discard pip. And there's the other Haunting deck, capturing as well. Let's see if he's capturing here. Maybe he used the Autovac to archive. And purging the Universal Keylock, getting up to 11 Ember, and taking JDG down to 4 Ember. Still going to be an exciting finish here. JDG, of course, has 13 cards in his archive. Coming out with a thinking. All Logos cards in the discard. We have 3 Logos cards purge as well, and a Mindfire and Eaton's Jar purge. We know in Starlines he might also have Hold the Line, which would only draw 2, but we see him go into Dis. Takes his archives. Okay, this could be big. And likely also has a Market Dis if he wants to, make AV8R have to go back into Mars. JDG was not forced into playing the Gravitron. I'm not sure how that would happen. There's a Market Disc, so AV8R will have to go into Mars next turn. And most of his Mars is in the discard here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although it's possible he has an intentional discharge. Dr. X also in there. 9, 10. So at most he has maybe 2 Mars potentially in hand. Waking Nightmare could potentially make AV8R's key cost a lot more here. We could see an Infernus taking away some Ember as well. Still thinking through the turns here. Already super exciting game 1, and we potentially have 2 more games. Who knows what could happen? Let's see. I'm wondering if he's thinking what to get with an Infernus. Could get Junk Restorations. Could try and go for... I doubt he's going to go for the intentional discharges, but he might. Could go for Brain Dart, just for because of creature control. Or the Haunting deck with the 2 captures. One moment. Not sure what he thinks is most critical for kind of him getting to the end. We do see he's got the 6 Ember, so he is up to check. Okay, there's the second Market Disc destroying the Time Traveler. The Infernus does come out. And he gets the Time Traveler and the Haunting deck that had Chew Capture on it. And then Mind Firing a Zyzox, which Aviator's probably fine with, even though that might have been one of his last Mars cards, and if he also had the intentional discharge, then that probably does hurt. JDG is getting up to 9 Ember here. Umber Fiend also coming out. Implosion, destroying the Umber Fiend and the Ironix, the Clever, stealing one as well. The Waking Nightmare here. Ooh, Double Doom, making Aviator discard Help from Future Self, which would have at least given an Ember. Time Traveler's gone now. Discarding Techno Fiend, playing the Stirring Grave. Still 10 cards in hand. Archiving the Umbra Fiend with the Stirring Grave. So Aviator does forge for 7, but JGG up to 15 Ember. And Aviator is going to have a no turn here pretty much in Mars. We do think he's got Effervescent Principle potentially ready to go in Logos the next turn. So he goes Mars, uses a Quantum Compass to archive the top card of the deck, uses a Remote Access. Oh, for the Autovac. Nice. To discard. Not sure what he discarded with the Autovac, but then discards an intentional discharge which he had in hand, but makes JGD pay 9 for his second key. Then the Star Alliance comes down. Double Quixel Stone, hold the line, Hadron Collision. Discarding creatures, use up to 9 Ember with Aviator on 2 Ember. Goes to check at 9 Ember. Aviator goes quickly into Logos. So here will be the EP. Quantum Compass, of course, archiving the top. There's an Effervescent Principle. Discarding Quantum Mouse. Minerva Wings being attached to the Infernus. I'm guessing to get the Ember, but that's interesting. Gives a draw 2 to JGG. Uses it, plays Implosion, plays Waking Nightmare, plays Mark a Disc, gets up to 9 Ember again, Stirring Grave for the Infernus. I don't think you can stop 9 Ember without the EP. A frantic finish here to game 1. Going Geistoid, taking all his archives. Quantum Compass archiving the top. Junk Restoration does get the Parabyte. Second Junk Restoration coming down. Doesn't get any Geistoid. Returns a Remote Access. Discards 2 Portal Guardians. Plays a Parabyte. Captures. And JDG takes game 1 with 1 Ember left over. Great game. Let me capture the logs here. All right, what a game 1. Really exciting back and forth. On to game 2. Whew.
This is Keyforge.
Yeah, what a game. What a game. Yeah, Skippy in hand to get the Autovac would have been nice. But he actually got good value out of it before. on to game 2. Let me update the score here. All right. All right. JDG started game 1 with Quixelstone, starting game 2 with Eaton's Jar, naming Time Traveler. Now, AV8R we saw did mulligan and had a what looks to be an awful starting hand, remote access, and discards 2 intentional discharge. Then JDG, continuing his great start, plays his Quixelstone turn 2 and then discards a couple a creature and a upgrade. AV8R goes into Logos, Connectome transfer and discards Effervescent Principle and Minerva's Wings. JDG plays Hold the Line in Star Alliance and discards Teleporter Chief Tink. Kind of it's a race to see who gets a Logos efficiency now with Autoencoder or Quantum Compass. JGG gets Universal Keylock and Autovac on the board, discards a QMax. I missed a turn where AV8R discarded 3 Portal Guardians, goes back into Geistoid, plays a Junk Restoration, gets to a second Junk Restoration, gets to the Quantum Compass, and plays a Haunting deck. Purges to Hold the Line, and also gets a discard to the Elder Batchminder. JGG goes back into Star Alliance, plays Quixelstone, discards a Chief Tink, and AV8R goes back into Geistoid, getting the 3rd Junk Restoration out there, getting to the 2nd Haunting deck. Not a lot of good stuff to discard here. Does he hold the 2nd Haunting deck to try and get something more critical to JGG's combo, or does he? No, he plays it, purges access denied, and uses Echo Fly to archive the Haunting deck. Nice. Up to 7 Ember. Universal Keylock is already out there, so the key cost is 9. JDG plays a Mindfire, hits the Time Traveler, steals 4 Ember. Double Doom takes out the Dr. X. Whew. And discarding Markadis and Stirring Grave. Doesn't want to get that last Ember. AV8R finally gets the Quantum Compass out. Discarding Intentional Discharge, Cobalt Capulet, and IX Renew the Clever. 1 card left in the draw for AV8R. And then next turn, JDG gets his Autoencoder out and discards 3 creatures to start that archiving going. All right, and so AV8R is almost all the way to his deck. JDG has a 2 more turns to get through the deck. JGG also archived with Autovac. AV8R goes into Mars, plays a Destroy Them All, destroys the Eaton's Jar, plays Help from Future Self to get the Time Traveler back, plays it, has an Intentional Discharge, plays it again, getting some extra cards out there in his hand, discarding a Yandy Links to capture, discarding the rest of his creatures, and pass his turn. Both players at 7 Ember. Back and forth they go. Alright, JGG goes into this. Markadis comes out. Infernus comes out. Takes out the Time Traveler. What else does he get? The Help from Future Self. Ooh, that is rough. JGG then also discards an Umbra Fiend to get another archive. AV8R then goes into Geistoid, takes his archives, has 8 in hand. Junk Restoration comes out. Discards a destroy them all, effervescent principle, and portal guardian. Does take the destroy them all. Maybe aiming to get autoencoder next turn potentially. Quantum Compass, of course, archives the top card of their deck. That was a lot of stuff that's happened in six minutes there. Ghoul Keeping is played just for the Ember. JDG is at check for 9 here. But of course, also has an auto-evac on hand. Haunting deck coming out. What will he be able to purge here with a Haunting deck? Gets an Ultra Gravitron. Okay. He could have actually got the Eaton's Jar there if he wanted to. Or a Markadis or a Mindfire, but decides to go for the Ultra Gravitron. Okay. And JGG does get his first key, pay 9 Ember, destroying Universal Keylock, which makes AV8R in check for his second key with 8 Ember. Let's see, JGG most likely has a bunch of Star Alliance on hand. Just went Dis. Might have some Logos too. And if he goes Logos, can use the Auto-Vac. But he probably doesn't want to go Logos twice in a row. Yeah, we'll have to see what his options are here. Alright, goes in the Dis, uses Implosion, first reaps with the Infernus, then uses Implosion to destroy it, Waking Nightmare for Ember. Not feeding the archives as much, but there discards a Techno Fiend to archive a card. So AV8R forges his first key for 6 Ember. So we got JDG with 1 key, 3 Ember, and AV8R with 1 key, 2 Ember. 6 archives for JDG, 1 archive for AV8R. We have Time Traveler already purged. And Hold the Line and Ultra Gravitron purge. AV8R goes into Mars. Quantum Compass archives the top. Brain Dart comes out. Discards the Dr. X and destroy them all. Destroys the autoencoder. JGG goes into Logos. Lethalogica to get a QMax. Second Lethalogica to get the Universal Keylock. It's coming. Eclectic Inquiry. Getting up to 7 Ember. Auto-Vac. Let's see, holds the Universal Keylock, or also could have potentially archived it. AV8R goes into Geistoid. So JGG at check for second key with 7 Ember. Haunting deck comes down. What's he get here? Could get the autoencoder, could get Infernus, Markadis. also is able to, he gets a Teleporter Chief Tink. Oh, no, misclick, okay. I was gonna say that, I wouldn't have guessed that one. He did get the Skippy, the Glorious discard as well to use the Autovac. And, I think to increase key cost, but I'm not positive. Yeah, his archives back down to 2. And he decides to purge the Infernus. Okay. Let's see, both Haunting decks now in the discard. Junk Restoration comes out. Returning a remote access to hand so that he can continue to use the Autovac, and then using Echofly to archive the Junk Restoration. So because of the key cost with the Autovac, JDG not able to forge. And AV8R also threatening to do it again next turn with the remote access. Let's see, he's got 5 logos in the discard, 1 on board, and then 2 purged. So could potentially have 4 logos in hand, I think, if I did my math right. JGG goes into this. Let's see. We probably have some Mindfire actions, and we do. Hits a Junk Restoration. The non-Mars pipped one. And then a second Mindfire hits a Cobalt Capulet. Plays a Waking Nightmare, getting up to 9 Ember. Plays an Umberfiend and Marketist to destroy the Umberfiend to steal 1 more. Up to 12 Ember, 13 Ember with the Stirring Grave, archiving the Techno Fiend. JGG bursting. Let's see, AV8R could potentially have both Effervescent Principle and remote access on hand, I believe. Have we seen the Effervescent Principle? Oh yeah, it was already played. Or discarded. Ooh, JGG does get Eaton's Jar, and he calls remote access, wanting to ensure that he gets that key for 6, setting him up for key 3. How does AV8R handle that? I believe Destroy Them All is also in the discard, so it doesn't have a way to get rid of it. Oof. A real tough spot. Does go in the logos. Quantum Compass archives the last card in the draw pile. The animator comes down and deanimates itself and discards Maneuver Wings and Remote Access. JDG gets his second key, goes quickly into Starlines, plays the third Quixelstone, Mattermaker, discards 4 cards, gets to check with 9 Ember. Did AV8R draw anything when he flipped his deck? Goes into Geistoid, takes his archives. Junk Restoration, returns a Portal Guardian. Second Junk Restoration. Gets a Ghoul Keeping. Discards 2 Portal Guardians, plays a Ghoul Keeping, and gets a check, but JDG does win game 2 and moves on to the semifinals. Congratulations to JDG. Saving the logs here. Make sure I got the right one. Yep. Okay. All right. Wow. Some really key cards coming early for JDG, slowing AV8R down just enough, and really having some really big bursts there at the end to finish us off. What a game! All right. So JGG moves on. We'll play the winner of Damat and Don Keyforge, and as we had mentioned before the game, we still have one game from the third round for every day for the rest of this week. Tomorrow, in exactly 12 hours, we have Random Joe versus SC Steel. The day after that, we have Damat versus Don Keyforge, and then the day after that, we have Harm versus Fakey. So, exciting to see how that'll play out, to see who will fill out the rest of our semifinals. Also tomorrow, we have a challenger match of Arente Long versus Easy Galena. And that match tomorrow, Random Joe versus SC Steel, will be on Captain Gale's Twitch. The challenger match will be on Lord Judo's Twitch. And let's see. Let me see if I can look to see where the other ones are. They aren't on the events yet. Not sure yet who will take the Don Keyforge Damat game or the Harm Fakey game. So we will get those updated on the events as soon as we know. But lots of great Keyforge coming at you for the rest of the week. With that, that's a stream. Thanks everybody for watching. Congratulations to JGG for winning and for AV8R for a great run. Both unique builds in this competition, so that's always fun to see as well. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time. As always, forge responsibly. Take care, all. Bye.